this industry has now got to such a scale, and there are so many companies of so many varieties that are feeding off the immigration crisis, that it's time for a tax on companies that are making money in this way. Personally, I think it's extremely unethical to be cashing in on a crisis which is making life so much harder for hardworking taxpayers up and down the country, that's causing so many problems in communities, that is linked to soaring rates of crime in certain areas. And yet there are companies that are only too willing to take this extra money for providing accommodation and any number of other services to asylum seekers. Now, there have been some very honourable cases of hoteliers who've actually turned down this money. They've said, you know what? Even though it would make so much difference to my business, to my lifestyle, to take millions of pounds to change my hotel in a town centre from, struggling to get people to come to stay the night on little holidays and mini breaks to a booming asylum accommodation business. You know what? Even though that would make me a lot of money and I could retire earlier, I'm just not going to do it because it is only fueling the problem. The provision of these services is part of the whole industry that's grown up. And the more we keep catering to the industry, the more the industry will grow. My message to these hotel chains would be, you need to take a long, hard look at whether what you're doing is actually either ethical or moral, because you are contributing to the problem. You are making money off the backs of the British taxpayer. All that money is taxpayer money, by the way, all the money that you receive for accommodating asylum seekers. But it's much worse than that. You're making money out of a problem which is actually being transferred onto the British people. As each and every additional boatload of asylum seekers comes over, that is more pressure on NHS waiting lists. In due course, it's more pressure on classrooms, especially when there aren't quite so many women and children, fortunately, that come over, because I wouldn't want anyone as a child making that perilous journey. But it just adds to the whole pressure on public services, primarily on the NHS and also on local housing. And you just should not be feeding off this. It is like being a parasite. Show me any other country that does this. This is absolute insanity. If we in the UK are going to be offering this kind of welcome, and it's a long-term welcome, it's not just a short little red carpet on the day of arrival across the channel in a way that we all know is illegal. If we're offering a long-term luxury lifestyle to asylum seekers and other illegal immigrants, what do you expect? Do you expect the flow of illegal immigrants to dry up? Do you expect it to diminish? Or do you expect word to get out? And by the way, many of those who come are pretty good on TikTok. They quite like advertising their fancy new lifestyle. So do you think that actually catering to them in this high-end way is going to either reduce or increase the problem? I think pretty much even a child could tell you that this offer it's pretty hard to refuse. I don't even blame people from difficult parts of the world for coming to the UK to take up this amazing offer. What's not to like? Well, Labour has made a great deal of noise and delivered a great deal of nothing. So far, it's looking as if this year will be a record year for channel crossings. That's because Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister's policy, his plan for stopping the boats, is fundamentally flawed. His plan for stopping the boats is to try to stop the people traffickers. Well, that's absolutely impossible. You might just as well say, I'm going to stop the global drugs trade. As long as there's a market for the service, then providers will spring up. So far, to the best of my knowledge, he has not smashed one criminal gang, one people trafficking gang that deals in this particular form of smuggling and crossings potentially. he should have caught at least some by now, but there's been absolutely no sign of it. I think there was a bit of a press release a few months ago saying that a vile people smuggling gang, to use his terminology, had been smashed, but it turned out that actually that predated this Labour government. So their record on this has been absolutely woeful. And if you fast forward a year, 2 years, 3 years, we're going to have such numbers, and there's going to be even more hotels like this and companies that operate these hotels making vast sums of money. And it's got to stop.